You know, I was completely broke, had no idea where the next client was coming from. I was like, right, let's make some videos and get some work. And
without video content, I would probably be employed by someone else right now and hating my life. So it is the best thing I've ever done.
We can start just by giving like a little introduction of each of you.
Well, I'm Jack. I run my own little design studio called Chittco, and have been doing it for a number of years, but only started doing it full time when I got made redundant from my last job. And since then, I have, really invested into video content, and it has been the best thing I ever did. And now I live the dream every single day and get to make friends like you guys, which I would not have met if I didn't do this video content. So it's paid back dividends, not just in client work, but also being part of a community and not getting lonely doing freelance. So it's been wicked.
That's awesome. CJ?
So a very similar story to Jack, really. I worked for design agencies, did freelance for, on the side of things, worked in-house, and finally decided to quit my job back of November 2022 as well. So exactly the same time as Jack, we sort of started this. I actually completely avoided making video content, hated the idea of doing it, wanted to do it the old-fashioned good way of just posting some beautiful carousel images. Hopefully someone would like my work and then reach out and work with me. And then after a few months of doing that and then not probably being able to pay my rent, thought maybe I should start doing what I'm seeing other people succeed at, which was making these videos and things. So yeah, I got stuck in, decided to start making videos to help, just find some clients and get some work in and keep a roof on their head. And now, before I know it, it's kind of got out of hand. I'm now good friends with Mr. Jack Chitty. I'm now good friends with yourself, Cawley, all these lovely, wonderful creators all across the world who have all seen this face make stuff, and it's a wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience so far.
Thank you that was epic. Thanks so much for introducing both of you. This is my first ever duo Pentool Pals, and both of you guys said something about making friends online, which is awesome, and that's really what Pentool Pals is about. The name in itself is really just a spin-off of Pen Pal. So the idea that we're able to make friends on the internet is an epic thing.
It's so cool. But the weird thing was that so me and CJ, as CJ alluded to, we started this whole thing at a similar time. Both started kind of diving into video without knowing each other for a while. And then I saw one of his videos on the Discover page, shot him a message just being like, "That's a sick video." And then we just started talking from there. But when it was last December, CJ came up to London to see me, which was so mad to have what we've built quite a deep friendship in quite a short amount of time, to then having never met each other and then seeing him in real life was so strange. It was just so weird because it was first it was way more HD, seeing every bit of his skin was wild. But it was
seeing me in 4K for the first time, and it was weird. Jack didn't look like Jack when I first met him. That was quite an interesting experience. Yeah,
I was way more handsome.
Yeah, he took my breath away instantly, and even then let me sleep in his house. So we got to have a sleepover. And it was amazing. We shared stories, we ate together, it was the best. And that was all from just, meeting someone online who was in the same space as you, doing the same thing as you, and ultimately just had exactly the same kind of goal and values and everything. So we're super, super lucky. And so when I saw that you did the Pen Pals thing, and that was, again, love the name, dude, love the branding and the logo, dude, it's so sick, and it just makes complete sense. And I'm stoked to be a part of this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have both of you guys on. And yeah, it is just a funny thing with Instagram, being able to make friends with what you do. I don't know how you guys' day-to-day lives are, but none of my friends like to do graphic design. And whenever they ask me about my job, they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And they kind of just brush it off. And I love my friends, but it's different meeting other individuals that have similar interests in the space and actually know what you're doing, and then having a conversation like this where you actually can talk through pain points of what you do in a career, or even get to blow about the cool jobs you're doing.
Yeah,
I think that's
Jack too, isn't it? Yeah, go on, Jack.
I knew this was going to happen. But one of the best things about kind of having these friends online, or if you're lucky enough to meet up in person, is the amount of calls that me and CJ will just jump on to just be am I seeing a penis in this or not? Am I seeing a swastika or anything dodgy? can you see it as well? And like, and also, as you mentioned, like, if you're working on something sick that you can't talk about yet, but you can talk about it to your mates, like, it's so sick, because like, if you land like a job that's like really exciting and all you want to do is talk about it to someone who gets it, like, yeah, you can talk to partners and friends about it, but as you said, like, they don't live it, so they don't really know like how exciting that actually is. And then when you get to share that with someone who's just as gassed for you as you are for yourself, it's just the best. It's the best. So good.
It's honestly like a superpower to have as a freelance designer now. I think, you know, in those first few months of doing it, and even prior to actually doing this full time, you know, I show my partner like designs and logos for that exact reason. Is like, is there something you can see in this and that? But you know, she's not a designer. My friends aren't designers, so they only see it from that dimension. So it's great to have another person with a design eye and someone I can completely trust and be like, dude, check this out. What are we saying? You know, and we, as much as we're buddies, we're also incredibly professional in the fact that like, I want him to create the best thing he can, and vice versa. I know he wants to do the same thing too. So if an idea sucks or it's not working, or you know, we'll tell you. We don't hurt each other's feelings, but we'll tell each other like, look, have you thought about trying this, or you know, maybe you know, that's just not going to work or whatever. So you know, and that if you don't have that and you work solely on your own and you just your eyes on it, I feel like an idea can only go so far. But if you have the power to be able to, I can go on and be like, Jack, check this out. What do you think? And I get his brain on it, you know, for free as well, which is great. He's never billed me, which is amazing. But I get to show him stuff for free. It's just like, I just already feel like in the last year, my work has just got exceptionally better because I'm able to share it with somebody and just have a very honest, professional and friendship kind of feedback on that. Mm-hmm. So it is a superpower to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It shows. Both of you guys' success has absolutely skyrocketed. Maybe it's a huge pat on your backs, but maybe you guys should give each other a high five because maybe it's some sort of duo happening. But what's incredible is to see both of you guys grow. You guys are absolutely crushing it. And I would say are doing the best video content out there on social Instagram for graphic designers right now. And that's really why I wanted to get you guys both onto this podcast, because I want to get some insight, understanding kind of what your guys' initial goals for video was, understanding how you guys started in video, and really understanding kind of the recipe for what makes a viral video. Jack, I'll start with you. If you could kind of pinpoint the special sauce of a video, what would you say like is necessary to make a viewer's attention get grabbed?
Well, I think CJ's going to be pissed that I go first because I'm going to take exactly what he was going to say. Story, like having a story in the video is essential. If there is no beginning, middle, and end, or like a conflict resolution part, there is nothing to get someone from one frame to the next, and there's nothing to keep them there for the video. And obviously, you know, retention is massively important for the algorithm pumping you out and all the boring stuff about it. But fundamentally, if you don't have a video that has a story, no one is going to want to watch it. And it's so deeply ingrained in human beings that we are storytelling people. There was a study that I very briefly glossed over, so I'm sure I'm like butchering it, but where they told there are two sets of people, and they told one set of people some facts about something, and then they told the other set of people a very convincing story to the contrary of the facts that the other people were told. And then they told them what the actual truth was afterwards. And whilst a lot of them were like, oh, okay, that's the truth now, some of them were like, I don't know, though. That story was just like so captivating. And they felt like they were kind of emotionally invested in whatever that story was that they were told. And I think that if you can tell a good story, people connect to the video, the subject, whatever it is that you're talking about. And that's where you can, you know, hopefully get people to share it with their friends, comment what they like about it, what they hate about it, whatever. But without the story, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, agreed. I'll echo pretty much what Jack said. Is that I think I was speaking to somebody else about this a little while ago, but they asked me the same question: is like, how are you getting people to watch your videos? How are they watching them for so long? How are you getting those kind of views? And yeah, storytelling is a massive aspect of that. And I think the way it works, the way I try to, you know, maybe narrate a video, or how I try and tell my story, is things are the way they are before what they are, right? Like what they are is boring. So if I show you a video of me designing a logo and the first thing I do is go, yeah, there's a logo, it's kind of, it falls flat on its ass. But if I sit there and say that there's this problem to solve and there's a reason behind this thing, we're invested then. So Simon Sinek, have you ever heard of Simon Sinek? He's an incredible dude, right? A fantastic book called Start With Why. And he explains that the way, human beings actually communicate effectively is with the why, the how, and then the what. And where everyone goes wrong is they do it the other way around. They explain what they do, how they do it, and then they never really get to the why. So even with a video, thinking in that narrative of why we do what we do, how we did it, and what we did it for, that's how I structure every single video. So, it pretty much echoes exactly what Jack said, but I think it's important to make sure that you're not just pumping out stuff because you think it just looks kind of cool and that'll do, and that's what everyone else seems to be doing. There is a lot more thought behind this. There's a lot more strategy behind every single thing that we make and we publish and do. And it's the same with the work. The work can't be mediocre. The work also has to be good too. I could have a really crap logo design, but if it could have a really great story, I think it's still not going to do great. There's a nice even blend, I think, of many things.
Unless you do a really bad logo and you do a great story, and then the comments are just filled with people just digging you out about how bad it is, because then that can get good numbers too. So, but for the wrong reasons.
Depends what you want. Yeah, if you want numbers but you don't mind the hate, go for it. But if you want to try and educate in some sort of aspect, get people to relate to something, or that's the other key to it as well, is getting someone to have an emotional connection to it. Whether that's you're going to make them laugh, educate them, inspire them, motivate them, but it comes from an emotional reaction, not like a sort of statistic or something like that. That's boring information. We don't want that. We fall in love with emotional connections, and I think that's kind of what we try to do in our videos. And Jack does. He kind of taught me a lot really from very early on with his storytelling. So
no, we both learn from each other. Shut up! Stop trying to be all up.
I think what you guys are saying about the story is great, especially in an industry like design, because so many of the viewers watching may not be designers, and we're trying to get the actual reach that goes past the just designers alone. For them, it needs to be a form of entertainment of some sort, and so the story allows them to buy into it. But then also, if you're a graphic designer, you're just going to go ahead and look at the logo and be like, "That's really well done. That's super cool, and that's nice." And then if you're just a normal consumer, you ask a question like why. Like, you look at the Nike symbol, you say why. I mean, I still say why to the Nike symbol, but let's use like a better logo reference, for example. And then you can look at it and say, that was really well done, because you understand all the pain points of the brand, or like the story that you're trying to purvey. And then you say, hey, that actually hit all those parts. And then we say, like, art is for fun. You can just do art just to go ahead and create it for yourself. But design is done for a reason, and it's to actually hit points. And in each of you guys' stories, you're telling them exactly how you got to that end point, which is really, really great.
Yeah, exactly that, dude. It's kind of like, I always explain it, this is probably overcooking it so much, but I always explain, like, being a designer, a graphic designer, is like being an artist and a scientist, and you're somewhere in the middle. It's creating art with a rationale and data and strategy within inside of that. And so then when you put that into like a video format, right? So, for an example, one of our videos is, I'll say, stop designing, obvious logo designs. So we start with a problem. We go, okay, there's a problem here. What's the problem? And we go through, we read a brief, we understand the brief, and then I go away and end up falling into a problem and going, oh man, like, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And then there needs to be a resolution where I go, okay, how do I figure this problem out? And then I show that to people. So what that does, I think, and this is another way, like you just mentioned a second ago, Cole, is that not only just creating videos for designers to go, okay, yeah, that looks great, and I resonate with it, and okay, there's other people that may see it, e.g. clients. You're showing them your creative thinking as well inside of this. It's not just about, okay, great, you can design a fantastic mark, that's all good. But when you can show someone where it came from and the creative thought process behind it, and even the cock-ups and even like the messing up and the human side to it, I think that it goes a long way. And what it also does is that's a lot more relatable as well. I think relatability when posting content and sharing content is a massive thing that a lot of people miss out on. We all want to show the best version of ourselves and say, look at me, how great am I? But if you can actually be a little bit more real about it and show that you had a struggle along the way. Jack does this well as well, where he shows like, I needed to execute this thing, and I did it, and it just wasn't quite hitting the mark, and I had to go away and think a little bit more. What that does to clients then is it shows that, okay, he's got creative thinking here, and everyone can kind of appreciate that and understand that, and that's what a client's thinking about. Designers go, oh yeah, the execution's badass, but the client's looking and going, shit, he's got a really good brain. I want his brain to work on my project. Do you know what I mean? So if you can do, again, you're talking to both those audiences at the same time, you're absolutely killing it.
Speaking of storytelling, because in your guys' videos, you turn not only from a graphic designer, but you honestly have now become Hollywood production actors and video producers. And it's really cool to see. And it really just takes being a graphic designer to the next level, because you're wearing so many different hats. Like, you're actually having to act now. Like, even in your storytelling, both of you guys have like this signature like face. Like when you go and you look at your logo and you say, no, it's not good enough. We got to go in and make it even better. And then that's where like I feel like that's where the story climaxes. And then you find, or it continues to climax as you see the logo redevelop and become whatever it ends up really becoming. And most just even see the first logo as like, wow, that was really cool. And like, you could have stopped there, but then you go ahead and just make it even better. I want to talk a bit, CJ, we'll start with you. I want to talk a little bit about how having to wear like the extra hat of getting your face in front of the camera, and I'm sure it was difficult to start, but what is that like?
Yeah, dude, it sucks. Like, I didn't love it. Like, I didn't want to do it. Like I said, I rejected it for ages, the idea of doing it. And you can even go back to my earlier videos and you can see me slowly creeping my way into the video. And that was because, again, the more I was absorbing and watching, I wasn't, again, we didn't just accidentally fall into this. I did my research. I looked at other content creators, even outside of our space, people that, not just designers, YouTubers, all these other people making captivating content that made me want to keep watching. There was a human being behind all of it, right? And there's a lot of videos that do well on the line that are faceless, but the problem is that then the minute you show your face, everyone goes, well, who the hell are you? So you kind of have to start with it, really, and kind of get people knowing. And again, I think that's what people end up hitting that blue button and following you and want to continuously keep following you, is because they understand who you are now. You show your personality through that. So it was important for me to do it, and I like doing it now, which is, I can't believe I'm even saying it, but I actually genuinely enjoy making a video now and being myself and showing my personality through the work. So then you're hitting three pillars then. So not only are you creating content for designers to go, okay, cool, that's how he's using a tool, or that's how he particularly built a logo that has, like a radius to it. And then, okay, then there's clients looking, going, okay, he's got creative thinking, which is really cool. But then you're making yourself likable or relatable or someone, with a personality, e.g. the type of music that I'm using. I always use my own playlist that I really like, and that's another way of me expressing who I am. So people get an idea, even when I'm not talking in a video, they go, I know this dude, he's like a skater surfer dude and listens to 90s hip hop and shows silly faces, and because that's me, that's just me in real life, and that's how I get to show it, and that takes, I think that's the difference between what me and Jack are doing and then maybe what other designers are doing in terms of showing their work. The difference in things like those views and that reach that we're able to get, because people can, again, they relate to the person, not just the work. So yeah, it sucks. It's not the most fun thing to do. You get a little bit used to it, and it's still not the easiest thing when you hop on a screen and there's like your face in 4K and you're having to look at it over and over again. You do get a little tired of that. I don't like that, but it's kind of necessary at this point for me to keep doing it, and I've found joy in it somehow.
Yeah, Jack, I'll ask you a different question that actually like bounces off of that. And I'm curious, do you feel like people are able to know you more through video rather than the stagnant posts, and does that roll over more so into like getting clients or having clients already recognize you or want to work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think CJ does a way better job at sharing his personality and getting more of who he is across, and that's largely by design. I don't I'm a bit scared to do all that stuff, but CJ's just like such a fantastic job of being likable, way more likable than I am. So if I share too much, I think I'll start losing followers. But it's a great question. Massively, yes. So I think like before I did video content and I would get the, the occasional lead through somehow, there was almost, even though I would never do sort of like pitch proposals or anything, I wouldn't like pull together a bespoke pitch deck or anything. But it did almost feel like a sort of interview type thing when I had kickoff calls with clients, because I was trying to prove myself. I was trying to, have all the vocabulary ready to go to describe why I'm charging this amount of money or what the deliverables are going to be or what have you. And I think now I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I think clients get to know me through my videos, through my stories, whatever. And so when we have that kickoff call, they already have a very good understanding as to how it's going to go, who I am, how I like to do my work, what kind of stuff that I'm good at, what kind of stuff I'm not so good at. And so it's a way more collaborative kickoff call than it is combative and more interview style. So it's more just like, hey, do we just get on as people? Do we get on? Are we going to work well together? And there is less of that pitching because a lot of that has been done through this kind of online portfolio on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And so tends to lead to healthier conversations about budgets, deliverables, timeframes, and higher conversions as a result. So without video content, I would probably be employed by someone else right now and hating my life. So it is the best thing I've ever done by a mile.
It really is incredible the reach that video is allowed to give to an entrepreneur in general or just graphic designer. And the way that it takes design from just being something that's internal and allows it to be given or shown to the masses is really incredible. Both of you guys are no stranger to the viral video content sector where both of you guys are getting millions of views. Like, what does a video like that gets over 1 million views do to your social channel? CJ, we'll go back to you.
Jeez, so I'm gonna clear this up immediately. Jack will agree with me on this one. We both truly don't believe we've ever gone viral. The way I imagine a viral video is when you're in newspapers or you're way outside your own space. Someone's nan would be like, "Did you see that video of that guy, doing that? That's viral." I think, we've done some fantastic views. I'm very proud of being able to reach the views that we've done. But to me, that's just a massive, massive stretch. And in no way I don't personally think we've ever made it. I know Jack feels the same, but I mean, going big like that with a video and it does well. I mean, geez, so much can change for you. I think the first video Jack got 1 million+ views on videos way before I did. And I think his experience was really interesting, and he'll share it with you in a bit. And I then immediately had the same response and the same feeling about it. But luckily, because he'd done it first and shared that with me, I was kind of ready for it. You get from it. But the positive you get from it is, yeah, dude, you can grow 10, 15,000 followers in a couple of days. I think, I don't know what my biggest kind of following growth that all of a sudden that happened. I think it was maybe 40 or 50,000 in just maybe a week or two. I think it was something wild like that. It was absolutely crazy. And then naturally just the inbox of email leads that come in, it can just be, that's the most overwhelming thing, because for me that's I'm here with my clients at the end of the day. That's why I did the videos to begin with. I was completely broke, had no idea where the next client was coming from. I was like, right, let's make some videos and get some work. And so yeah, when a video does well and it gets those kind of crazy numbers, yeah, you then get to kind of be picky with the work that you get to go and read through these emails and go, oh, this one seems interesting, and oh, do you know what, that one doesn't, and I get to kind of put it down. And that, as from a freelance point of view, that's just winning the lottery. I get to be picky with the clients that I want to work with, and so I'm eternally grateful for a video that does very, very well like that. But a video doesn't have to do 1 million views for that to happen as well. We needed the one right person to see it. And inbox, come into your inbox and ask you for your services, dude. So I wouldn't always chase the idea of trying to make big videos and that. And if they happen, great. But it depends what people's goals are. What are you doing it for? What are you trying to get the views for? Are you trying to get them because you want to sell people's products, or do you want to get clients? Everyone's got a different mission or reason. So for me, it's just if I can find clients, I'm stoked, and it works for me like this. So I love it.
That was actually a question I want to ask. And Jack, I'll ask you, is when you are structuring your video, and even in the very beginning start to your video content, were you cognizant of what type of videos you wanted to put out so that it would be specifically for either gaining followers or gaining clients or anything in between, really?
So I remember very vividly not making any money. Coming up to a year ago from now, it was May last year. I didn't make any money really. And I remember very clearly thinking, am I just bad at this? Or is it that not enough people know I exist? And so I didn't really want to accept the first one. So I thought, okay, let's try and get as many eyeballs on me first. And then if I get nowhere, then I'm just bad at this. And then I can, pursue something else. So initially it was about trying to get as many eyeballs on me as possible, because I thought that I did some like very basic maths on lead conversion that I was doing at the time. And I thought if I just maintain that percentage, but then I increase the amount of leads, I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to have so many more clients, because if I'm converting at that ratio, then great. So initially, yeah, it's similar to what CJ was saying. Went through like loads of different creators, whether that's in the space or out the space, to kind of like study their videos and why they did well. And that's very difficult to do when you don't know what you're looking for. But you over time, you start to realize. So, just over time with my own videos, they got better. I realized more and more about human psychology, the way that people interact with things like this, and what's going to make people stay to the end and all of that stuff. So mine kind of generally progressed over time anyway, to get to the point they're at now. And I hope that they get better. They continue to get better.
Even when I was starting with video, I was really just throwing shit at the wall and seeing whatever sticks. And sometimes what I realized stuck was for the wrong reasons. And I might be getting more followers that are more designers, that are possibly just looking at my art for art or design just to get inspiration from. But it wasn't leading into any more client generation. And the reason why I wanted to be making these videos is just to basically get more clients, have more business, right? And so what I'm asking you guys is, if you got into a point where you realize what content works the best to receive more clients.
Yeah, no, big time. CJ alluded to it earlier, and I try and think about, it's the same concept, but I think about it in like a Venn diagram of like 3 circles. So you've got like client, designer, and then what I would call like entertainment, like something that basically, by that though, I mean like not horrible to watch, like something that is quite enjoyable to watch.
Right.
So there's this really lovely bit in the middle, which if you hit that, that's where you get like a video does really good numbers. It generates loads of leads, and that's just like the absolute dream. And like, well, I can speak for myself, definitely don't do it every time. Sometimes you might like miss one slightly, and then maybe you get views but no engagement with clients, or maybe the other way around. So if you can hit that sweet spot, then sweet. And every single video I make, the first thing I think about is what's a client going to think, because same as what CJ was saying, I'm only doing this primarily to run my business. Like, clients are what I need. I care mostly about what they're going to think. So I firstly think about, what is a client going to take away from this video or concept? If I've written a script or whatever, I think like, what's a client going to think when this is done? Are they going to think he's an expert in his field, he seems like he's having a bit of a laugh, and he creates something good at the end, good thinking, sweet, I'm going to engage him. So that's the main thing, is what I'm thinking about, is making sure it hits that circle first. And then if I can make it where there's a couple of nuggets in there that, or a more junior designer, or even just like someone who doesn't do their process the same way I do, maybe they can take something away from it. And I often try and steer away from like in-platform tutorials, like Illustrator tips, because firstly, CJ does it better than anyone, so there's no way I could compete. But secondly, I suck in Illustrator, really. So I'm in no place to kind of...
Let's not start this. I have to genuinely sometimes show him how to save things. Bless him.
Mental. Like I'm the most like unexperienced designer in that regard. So it's completely not my realm to be educating anyone. But like, I can talk about client process. I can talk about ways of engagement. I can talk about, inverting logos and things like that. I can talk about the more of the craft thing than the implementation side of it. So I might sprinkle some of that in there, and that might interest a designer. And then finally is making it enjoyable to watch. And I think like, me and CJ have made so many videos now where it becomes like very second nature, just knowing like when to cut things, what type of music to bring in, what kind of pace, like how many elements on one specific part of the story should we include, and maybe we might hold on that too long and cut bits out. Like, it's become very second nature now. But then, as I said, like once you hit all of those circles and you hit that bullseye in the middle, you can get some silly numbers and you can get a load of leads. And that's kind of the roulette that you're playing every time that you post. Is like, well, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a good one? Is it going to fall flat on its face? I don't know. But that's kind of what keeps us coming back for more, I think. It's just kind of this gambling nature to it.
I think
you guys are really just gambling addicts, just posting videos on Instagram.
Me and Jack now, because we're friends in this, and we share our reels with each other sometimes before we even post them, right? So like, I'll show Jack mine, he'll show his, and we'll even give each other feedback on that. So it doesn't just stop at logo design. Is that he'll share his reel and be like, dude, watch this through. Does it make sense? Does it, do you get the story? Is there something? And we'll chop it up, and I'll go back and be like, oh, what about if we remove that? Just, it could be 2 seconds story. Move it, like just to get rid of it, and vice versa. So we do that, and again, that's like a superpower for us both, because it means we're getting 2 brains on one video for each other, right? Because I champion Jack all day long. Like, we don't see like one another as a competition at all. Like, but then we do in a lovely way. So like, not from like a design way where his design in his world is amazing. I won't tamper or play with his world. Vice versa. Like, there's so much food on the table for us both to eat. So I'm never worried about that. But from like a social media point of view, in that we push each other. It's like a healthy competition where I'm like, I'll post something and it'll do well, or he will, and we'll be like, ooh, like, who's going to do better this week? And that helps push you to just want to make more stuff as well. So we have a kind of a bit of fun with it, and we try not to take it too seriously, and just, look after each other in the process. And it's I think that's another reason truly why we've both grown. We've both done this together at the same time. We both got our jobs at the same time. We both started making videos at the same time, and then we just helped each other along the way. And that's why we're both in the same, space that we are now, because we just share it with each other.
This is definitely the most Pentool Pals episode I've ever had. Because, you guys are easily the kindest and most humble people. Just, it's great. And to be able to have you guys just continue to support each other, it's really what this is all about, which is super cool.
I think, honestly, sorry to interrupt you, but I think one of the sweetest things that we see on our videos sometimes, because obviously me and CJ will comment on each other's videos pretty much every time that we post. And I'm pretty sure me and CJ have basically the same audience. We have whatever number we're on is basically the same as each other. And a lot of people who follow both of us are aware that we're friends. And so when I'll comment something on CJ's video, he'll comment something on mine, and it will be lovely and supportive and complimentary. And then a bunch of people are just like, I love the connection that you guys have, the relationship that you guys have. And if we could foster that across the whole community, and that could be our role, that it would be so sick. If that's the type of way that people engage with each other online, is just gas some people up, but not unnecessarily. If they have some feedback for you, then great. Say it with love and say it honestly. But to have that support and not have that competitive streak in the respect of if you get a client and I don't, that means I'm annoyed at you and I don't want you to do well. Fuck that. If we can just create this space where everyone just gas each other up, that'd be sick. That'd be so cool.
Let's talk about advice that you guys would give to your younger self. I know, Jack, you call it redundant. In America, we call it furlough, or
it's laid off.
Laid off, yeah.
Furlough, you've still got your job, but laid off is where they don't have the job doesn't exist anymore. They're getting rid of the job.
So if you could go look back, and after you just lost your job, and you could give yourself some pointers or advice that you would then take to be where you are now, what would you say to yourself?
Well, a lot of people like to shit on social media being a very toxic place. And whilst I don't disagree with that, there are some horrible holes of the internet. But there has never been a time in human history where you have access to over half of the world for free. And so if you do treat social media seriously and treat it like a marketing channel, as you would do TV, audio, whatever, you can really change your life. And me and CJ have done that. We wake up every day just so excited to work. And I think so if I go back to when I was made redundant, I felt like a complete kind of lost cause really. I was like rudderless. I didn't know what direction to go in and put all my effort in, because I had all this free time now because I didn't have a job anymore, and I needed to make sure that I was investing my time wisely in things that were gonna, like, return something. And it kind of goes back to that point I was saying, where I thought that if I do think that I'm all right at this job, then it is just about getting enough people to know that I exist. So I would look at other designers. This would be my recommendation now to, like, people who are coming out, is to look at what other designers are doing, looking at the space. And I think it can be a massive thing about why I think me and CJ make videos that do good numbers, is because we are consumers. Like, we consume this stuff all the time, and probably to an unhealthy level, to be honest. But we watch and analyze and see all of the stuff, so we have a very good temperature check on what's going well at the moment, what's not, what's upcoming, what's starting to die. So really kind of living and breathing it is really important. And it is like, Instagram has become a video app, kind of whether you like it or not. Even if you don't post videos and you go on Instagram, what's the thing you're seeing the most? It's going to be a video. So having that understanding as to what the platform is pushing, then you can start thinking about, how do I shoehorn the stuff that I want to promote, where maybe that's clients. How do I do that, package that up in a way that will get the most people see it? Because that's fundamentally what we're trying to do with marketing. So keep an eye on what's going on and try and work out how you can package up what you want to say in a way that will be received well by the platform specifically, which you don't get any prizes to say that it's going to be a video. It's probably going to be a video at this point. So yeah, diving into video would be the thing. If I did it sooner, who knows where I'd be now? It would be video content for sure. I think I'll pass over to CJ, because I think that's kind of where I'm running out of steam.
That was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, geez. So what would the question is basically, what would I tell younger Siege to do at the very beginning of the freelance career, of like, right, you're about to go, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I can see this as the precipice of a new video.
So I literally do this in videos now. The style of video I have when I'm sat at my computer and then there's a voiceover going, oh, do you want to know how to do this? That is me speaking to younger CJ when he was a baby and having no idea. So I have thought about this a lot. I think that for younger me, when I just quit my job and I'm like, I'm sat there and I've got 8 hours every day, Monday to Friday, and I don't really have any clients, the tangible thing for me to do is, one, again, is to make content and to start promoting it, but not just showing people, that you can design great marks, but to show people your thinking, show people how you got to where you got. Like, we were always told that in school, right? To show your workings out. Otherwise, you get an extra mark for doing that, right? I don't care how you got to the sum, but if you can show me how you got there, you get an extra mark. It's the same thing. I don't always care about that you did a great logo. I think that's really, really special. I think that goes a long way in terms of what clients think about you. And I think my biggest bit of tangible advice, if you're then going to use social media to market yourself, don't be precious about anything. Stop. A lot of people get stuck where they go, I just don't know what to post. Just post something. Just try it. Just stop making an excuse of why you can't post that thing, or that someone does it better. You're going to suck at the start, okay? Your videos are going to suck. Your work's going to suck. But if you never just post it, you're missing out 100% of the time. So just get stuck in, post stuff, use it as a sketchbook, I think. I try to use, not so much now, but at the start, I imagined Instagram as a sketchbook. I'm just showing people the rough ideas, the good ideas, all these things, and I'm just showing it to the world and just getting over it. Just getting over the fact that someone may have a bit of feedback for you that's maybe not great, because it doesn't matter anyway. There'll be a bunch of people that do really like it, and half the people that that don't like it, you're never going to meet them anyway. You don't know who random Dave is from the middle of Canada who's telling you that your logo sucks. Fuck him. It doesn't matter. Just post it. So that's what I would definitely, just stop being scared and just do it. Yeah. Is that good enough?
It's the best advice you can give. I love that both of you guys gave something to a viewer watching that can literally take that piece of advice and start it tomorrow. And part of that advice is to start it tomorrow. So I hope that whoever is listening is able to go ahead and listen and act on it, because I second that completely, to literally just start. And if you can't start, then you'll never start. Like, it will never happen for you. And it really is so important. I mean, there's a lot of people that have roadblocks, and they think of themselves, even when they do see everyone else and they see how successful it is. And so starting at zero can be really scary. But there's no way you can be at a level like either of you guys if you didn't start a year ago.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane that you guys have grown to where you are. Obviously, it's for a reason, and that's why I love to talk with you guys and understand. But you guys have blown the fuck up. It's incredible. It really is. I mean, both of you guys' work is fantastic. Your video content is literally top notch. And to mix both of them together and to be where you guys are at are literally why you guys are a combined well over 500,000 followers together. I have been on social media for 3 years now, and I have 30,000 followers. I'm proud of my following. But I mean, it just shows like how important video content is to today's sector. And if you're not keeping up with video content, you're not going to get shown to more people. And you guys have done that so successfully and perfectly. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you, dude.
Thanks, man.
We're super proud of it as well. Like genuinely, we hop on calls, like I say, weekly, and we both look at each other, and every week and just go, "What the fuck happened there? Like, how are we here at this point?" You know, I still remember just, you know, I think it was January. Yeah, it was January of this year. I was at 100,000 followers, and so in 4 months, I've done 200 followers. I've gained, and it is mind blowing. It is life changing. Genuinely, dude. I can't stress that enough. Like, but it's not. I don't want to put out that's normal. Like, that's not normal growth. What me and Jack have done is wild. It is crazy. And yes, we have done this thing together, and we have put the work in, and it didn't just happen by accident. Like, we didn't just sit around, make a video, and like, the algorithm doesn't favor us. Okay, there's no like trickery here. Like, we have genuinely thought about this, and we put the time and energy into it. And I think that's the other bit of tangible advice I can give it, which is about just starting, is that stop, there's no excuses for, if you really want it, you'll do it. I think that's the difference. Like, me and Jack want it more than most. It's as simple as that. There is no more science behind this. I just want it more than most people, and I want clients more than most people. So I'll put the work in, and you know, I've got a life too. I've got loads of other shit I got to go and do. I've got all this work I got to do. I've got family to look after, all this crap, right? And then I have to make content. So you get stuck in and do it. Just being disciplined and just finding the time, you will find time. If you're making excuses like, well, I got to drop the kids off, or I can't do this thing because I've got football practice and I can't do this, and you don't want it. You just don't want it like I want it. It's as simple as that. So if you truly want to make something of this thing, get stuck in, stop making an excuse, make a fucking video, and get over it. And then it'll work. But it's never gonna work if you just hope it will. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Manifestation is bullshit if you don't put the work in.
Yeah. Simple as that.
I love it. I think that's a perfect place to end. So I'm going to go ahead and say, Jack and CJ, thank you so much for being a pal.
Thanks for having us. You're welcome, pal.